Hey guys, Madballer here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a great gameplay that showcases how to play the Garen matchup, as well as how to deal with some early jungle pressure. For Maroons, I'm running Lethal Tempo with Sorcery Secondary, and I'm going to be starting Door and Shield, as this Garen is running Ignite. For my summoners, I've actually gone Flash Ghost this game, which is against the more common Flash Ignite. I've been trying out this setup a lot more recently, and I found it allows you to scale a lot harder into team fights, and makes it much harder to kite you with the move speed from Ghost. The Garen matchup's probably, I think, one of Tryndamere's easiest matchups, as your R does just hard counter his ultimate. The one thing to remember, obviously, is that if Garen does go full tank, it becomes very difficult to kill him. But with most Garens rushing Triforce nowadays, I think it's quite a strong matchup for Tryndamere. And Tryndamere also does win level 1 fairly easily, as you can see here. Garen just doesn't have enough sustained damage with his Q, or if he takes E, you just out damage him anyway. So you do want to be shoving those first few waves just to get pressure into the lane. I did miss a few CS, but Garen's very low and has already used his pot, so we're in quite a good position into the lane as well. That early water place down pays off. As you can see, Lee Sin's already here quite early at 2 minutes 40. It looks like he just did 3 camps and not a full clear at all. I just want to sit far enough up in the lane that Lee Sin is tempted to waste time, which he does. Now, right now, he could just be looping around, so I need to sit further back and just watch the Garen. But now we know that Lee Sin's invading. Kha'Zix can easily look to make a play here. And it looks like Dan and I are rotating over. I did burn Ghost, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. It's on a short cooldown. And you can see there I just got 1 auto off on the Garen just to make sure that his passive doesn't proc. One of the most important aspects of playing this lane is to be able to consistently harass Garen down, just with auto attacks or an auto spin combination, because your sustain is much higher than his if you can keep his passive down. If he gets his passive off, then he's going to heal up, and that's probably where Garen can be quite difficult for some newer players. He's just harassing me now, but it's fine. I'm fairly safe on the tower, and Lee Sin isn't topside. Don't want to fight him now. I just want to pick up as much CS as I can. But we've already off to a good start for our team because the Kha'Zix has delayed the Lee Sin. We've wasted the Lee Sin's time. Just trying to get all the CS in the tower, and I don't think I miss any, which is fantastic. We've got a small CS deficit due to the Lee Sin pressure, but that's okay. And at level 4 with full fury, we can take a fairly decent trade against Garen. Right now, we just want to play patient. The only way you can lose the lane against Garen is by taking an early death. It sort of sucks to leave this, but I think I'm going to pick up the cannon CS and actually back off. But the wave is pushing to me, so I can just play it safe. You significantly outscale Garen, so there's no real reason at all to force anything. Because the lane is pushing to me and I'm going to be zoned from CS, it's best to just take a really quick reset. Unfortunately, Garen does hard shove, but I was going to be pressured out and Garen was going to hit level 6 before me. So it's better to lose a few CS there than it is to die when Garen hits 6 when you're still level 5. The good news is that Garen doesn't have TP and he's a bit overstaying a little bit, so we'll be able to force him to take a bad back as well. We're just going to check these brushes now to make sure that he's not getting a free recall. And you can see that using my W, I can tell whether he's still in lane. So Garen isn't going to be able to back. So we did miss a few CS, but we did get a good pressure now because we have an item advantage with double longsword. Still not sure where Lee Sin's on the map, so we do need to be a little bit careful. But you can see there, Garen hits level 6, so we just need to play back. And yeah, I anticipated that Garen flash coming through, so we timed that and traded flashes, which is fine because I still have Ghost. But just being aware there, as soon as Garen started playing forward, we knew Lee Sin was top lane, so we sort of absorbed that pressure and only just traded flashes. I still need to play back as Lee Sin could be stinging that brush. We don't know. So I'm just trying to soak as much XP as I can without dying right now. Seeing that Garen's not rotated, I can get a decent ward down in that riverside brush. And Lee Sin is bot again, so just obviously that ward is paying huge dividends as Lee Sin's now tried to gank 3 times and has wasted several minutes trying to gank top lane. It does suck to be zoned back because of jungle pressure, but as long as you don't die, just remember your team's going to come out ahead most of the time. And their jungler is being a lot weaker just by not farming or ganking successfully, just by sitting in your lane. You can see here Garen wants to back. I'll trade a tower shot to keep him in lane, because right now he's got no pressure without any items. So the important thing there is to buffer your E. I might need to go into this a bit more detail. So when Garen does go to Q, you can auto and then buffer your E immediately, and you'll get the auto E damage off immediately, and he'll just get the Q damage, and you will trade there. Unfortunately, I did stuff it up there, so you need to be a little bit careful, but in 99% of cases it does work, it does come through, and you just need to be careful to just do it properly. So you can see the Garen's ultimate animation go off, and we get the easy solo kill. So that's what I was talking about previously. You can actually just hold your R until you hear the Garen ult or see the animation. He makes a very, very distinguishable audio sound when he's ulting. So you can in fact just time that with either the audio or the visual animation to ult immediately with his ulting. I wasn't sure where Lee Sin was, so I didn't end up pushing that wave in, which does suck, but if he was coming top, I would have been dead, so I played it safe instead. Just based off the gold I had in that back timing, I'm going to pick up a Tiamat. You don't have to go Tiamat in this matchup. Because I am red side, Krugs are available to farm if possible. So in that case, if you are going to be farming Krugs, you really want to have Tiamat. But Tiamat also does provide the advantage of proccing Garen's passive or popping off Garen's passive with the Tiamat AoE. You can use that to clear that pretty safely and keep him at lower HP. Right now the team is doing fairly well, and I have decent threat. The issue is that Garen has picked up ninjas, which is the correct itemization. So I do need to be a little bit careful right now in which fights I pick. I see an opportunity to chunk him out, and I do chunk him to about 1/3 HP, and now Kha'Zix is immediately going to look for a dive. Unfortunately, I can't run through tower right now, but Kha'Zix does pick it up, and we can fairly safely dive this with ult. Now with Ryze coming, I just need to play this slow, but I think we can pick it up. And Kha'Zix and I do a great job. The key thing there was I was positioning myself behind Kha'Zix so to not be hit by Ryze's Q. Now that Ryze's Q is a skill shot, I was just kiting around behind my Kha'Zix to make sure that I wouldn't be hit by the skill shot Q. I'll just pick up that plate and look to see if I can pressure off another plate as well. And I'll just back up all the way over here in case Garen does check that first lane brush. I could have gone for the BF sword there, but I figured it would be a bit of a smarter buy to pick up the Ninja Tabis, considering that I need to get back to lane quickly. If Garen did hard shove the wave, you do want that movement speed to get there as fast as possible. It does provide some good maneuverability to chase down Garen and when fighting as well. So I find it a really good early rush. I'm not going to be able to finish off the whole Krugs, but that's okay. We're not going to miss any other CS, so we'll just pick up half of the Krugs in this case. It was fine, obviously, again, because our Kha'Zix is pathing bot side, so there's no need to do that. And I do see Garen running mid, so I want to warn Diana as many times as possible. Hopefully she gets out, but either way, I'll be able to shove this in with Tiamat and get a lot of plates down. And Diana does a great job of escaping, so we might better get tower. At the very least, get some damage onto it. The Garen is rushing Triforce out, which in my opinion is a mistake. I think the optimal build for Garen against Tryndamere, and what actually does keep Tryndamere down for quite a while, is going to be Ninja Tabi's Wardens probably, or Bramble Vest. It's up to the individual player. Because Garen's base damage is actually strong enough that he can almost always can fairly strongly all in Tryndamere with just the base damage, as opposed to building damage, which is irrelevant essentially while Tryndamere is in his ultimate. And we're able to avoid yet another Lee Sin gank. So this game's been excellent in terms of wasting Tryndamere's Lee Sin's time. He spent a ton of time up top while the other team's been winning the other side of the lanes, and he's not doing anything again. And you can see there that ward down is being really, really useful. So I'm at absolutely no risk of Lee Sin here. He's just wasting a ton of time. Yep, and as soon as I see Lee Sin pop over, I can bait that out. And one of the other things I didn't mention about Ghost is that Ghost is really, really, really good for escaping jungle ganks. So it does make it a lot harder for you to gank. So that is another benefit aside from the late game scaling. Unfortunately, I can't really hold that that tower at all without ultimate. So I'm just probably need to back off here anyway. But our Kha'Zix does get dragons. So that's excellent. And at this point, with first tower gold down, it's not the end of the world. My Dana is teleporting in, but I can't really do much other than just giving the slow and W. And Dana does a really, really good job of picking up the kill on Lee Sin. From here, we'll look to just shove the wave in, and with Lona top, we can look to pressure tower depending on whether or not Garen stays. You definitely can't dive in, because obviously he's very tanky naturally, and I don't have ultimate, but we can sit to pressure the tower depending on what he does, and he does end up backing off. He might have been a little bit worried about Diana staying, but I think he could have held his tower if he'd wanted to. Now I was looking to back off, because I wasn't sure, but I think with Leona's Shadow, I can actually shove this in fairly safely, which is great. Leona is going for a play, but she's very far from us, so I'm trying to ping her back, but I will rotate over and see what I can do. With Diana here, we can look to make a play, as I'm quite strong. I would pick up 2 kills there, so a bit of an interesting play from Diana to start. Sorry, from Leona to start, but Diana and I were able to clear it up for 2 for 1 kills, which is great. And with Lee Sin top, I'm just going to try and get a little bit of damage down on the tower, or clear the wave. I think clearing the wave is better. So I do pick up a free extra wave mid lane, including a cannon, which is great. With the game as it is, usually now I'd look to rotate bot lane as dragons are up for at least a minute. But since Diana and Leona are still bot, I'm just going to look to push out top again. It would be ideal, however, if I was able to go bot lane, obviously. Kha'Zix is shadowing. I think actually at this point he can actually solo kill him. Just to show how far ahead Kha'Zix is and how squishy Garen is. But I'm not going to be able to get there in time, so I'm just going to have to hope that Kha'Zix can make the play. This Kha'Zix and I did some really good work actually in the early game, which was fantastic. He played quite well, and obviously that that play against Garen and Rise and Lee Sin ended up winning the game. I think that 3 kills to 0. I perhaps could have kept pushing top, but just with Lee Sin bot and the fight coming bot side, I think it's better to take Rift Herald. I can get that objective off the map, and from there I'm pretty much guaranteed a tower anyway, so it's worthwhile to get when it's safe to. And Garen was rotating top, so I don't think I had the damage to take tower first. Now we'll just look to rotate back up. We do have Ghost, so we can look for a play on Garen if he overstays. But it is not the easiest kill, obviously. There's one thing Garen is good at a champion, it's not losing lane hard. Like just looking at that with just phase, he's able to win that trade despite me being massively ahead. So yeah, it's a bit of a stonewall lane, but I'm just going to keep trying to farm up in this case. I don't know where Lee Sin is. Yeah, exactly. So if I'd spun on Garen there, I could have died. So good thing I backed off. Again, I want to go bot, but their bot lane's staying bot lane. That's fine. There's no point arguing. But I can continue to pressure top lane. Kha'Zix wants me to go to Dragon, but with Rift Herald, there's no point. I think it's better play to pressure top lane and with the Rift Herald to take at least 1 or 2 towers, depending on how much time I have. Because I can see Garen mid, and I'm fairly sure he's going to look to rotate to his team here. Unfortunately, Lee Sin is caught out, which makes it a little bit more difficult, but that's not really my problem. As I'm going to get at least this tower for free. Now I want to walk in. I just want to walk in the Rift Herald here. I don't want to dive or look to press the tower, but I just want to make sure that I get the Rift Herald damage off. See, my team's angrily pinging me, but I know better. I can say that I knew the Rise was there, and I was vindicated a second later as I would have if I'd spun in to try and deck tower. I would have died. So. The important thing there is not to listen to your team if you know that you're making the correct play, and in that case, spinning in and trying to take tower is not the correct play. With Rise nearby and now Karma, always best to just listen to trust yourself and not listen to your team. You don't have to. Get some really good wards down there, which will cover both entrances to top lane. So I'm fairly safe to keep pressuring out top, and I can see the enemy team rotating bot. At this point, I'm fairly safe to take this tower and look to take a hit. If Garen comes, like obviously I can fight him off in a sustained fight. But at this point, with 4 dead, 5 dead now, and an ace, we should be able to end the game here. And the Tryndamere ends before we can actually finish the game off. So I think that's a good example of how to handle early jungle pressure early on and not give away the lane. It did delay my winning the lane a little bit, but I didn't end up giving away kills despite being ganked over, I think, about 5 times in all. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it informative and entertaining, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe down below. I will be continuing to upload more videos, so stay tuned for more. Thanks guys.